Heinz Field, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The terrible towels in full view as we get set for a critical Week 9 matchup. There's the leader of the Baltimore defense, Ray Lewis. Needs no introduction. Neither does Troy Polamalu, the playmaker for the Pittsburgh Steelers on defense. A rematch of Week 1, or will it go in the other direction? As Baltimore humiliated Pittsburgh the first time around. Hi, everybody. I'm Howard David along with John Fina. As we get set for a revenge match for Pittsburgh, they were not only beaten, they were humiliated in Week 1 in Baltimore.
Baltimore really took care of Pittsburgh in that Week 1 with 7 turnovers. They thrashed them. It was a complete embarrassment. And throw the dagger in the heart, they went for a long ball near the end of the game to truly embarrass their bitter rival.
Cam Cameron, the offensive coordinator of Baltimore, has a major task. Identify where Terrell Suggs is.
That's an enormous task right now. With 25 sacks given up by the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're looking ruinous along the front line, and this will be a bludgeoning blow. If they lose 2 or 3 or 4 sacks in this game, you'll call it quits with the Ravens on top.
The Steelers have rebounded after the disaster in Baltimore in Week 1. They've won 6 out of 7, including a very big win against the New England Patriots last week.
Well, a formal beating will do that to a team in Pittsburgh, and Mike Tomlin's team has responded very well 6 out of the last 7. Of course, this game, huge division implications. They go down 2-0 to Baltimore. Makes it tougher for them to get in the playoffs, and home field will be a big problem. Important game for both teams. Bragging rights for Baltimore at stake.
Baltimore came back from a 21-3 deficit last week at home against Arizona. The week before, they were humiliated on Monday Night Football, losing to the defensive-minded Jacksonville Jaguars. A critical Week 9 matchup in the National Football League, and in particular, the AFC North, coming up next. Heinz Field in a 9-6 Baltimore lead here in the third quarter following Terrell Suggs' second interception of the season. It's the Ravens first down on their own 29-yard line. Rice slips one, but brought down after a pickup of 3 by James Harrison.
Well, Baltimore clearly picking up that turnover, putting the ball back into Flacco's hands, is excited, but not too excited. They start with a nice zone play, and it's cut back very well by Ray Rice. Picks up a few yards, but nicely blocked, settles them in for this third quarter.
Quick throw, wide receiver screen to Torrey Smith, and it didn't fool the Steelers as he's stopped immediately by Ike Taylor.
Torrey Smith on the outside, just trying to gain his confidence. Hopefully gets a hold of that ball and is able to make a guy miss. But Ike Taylor just too strong, and you see Terrell Suggs, the devastating rusher, on the sideline, regrouping with his teammates.
As good a defensive player as there is right now in the National Football League. Too soon to call him a Defensive Player of the Year with a half a year remaining, but he'll be there. Flacco out of the gun. Flacco to Pitta, first down. Just across the marker. Of course, the fans in the stadium can't see the yellow marker, but we can.
No, they can't. Pittsburgh does a terrific job here, faking the blitz, but better than that, Baltimore understands that they're backing out. A great route by the tight end Pitta. He gets to that first down marker. He knows where it is on the field, settles down, and Flacco just pitches him the ball. It's a great play for a first down.
Vontae Leach, the lead blocker for Ray Rice. And Flacco to put it up. Dumps it short to Rice. And Larry Foote gets a hand on him. Ray Rice, the second leading receiver on the Ravens offense.
That's terrific discipline by Ray Rice. He sees that nothing is happening out. He gets into a space where Flacco can see him. He makes himself big, gets a hold of the football, and just makes what he can out of it. And 7 yards is a heck of a lot to pick up on first down.
Ray Rice Amazing what he accomplishes with his size. But he's hard to find. Quick throw, Torrey Smith. Sure-handed tackle by William Gay on Torrey Smith, who up to now has averaged a gaudy 22.5 yards per reception.
And you can see the fight going on the edge between Ike Taylor and Anquan Bolden. They're giving and taking back and forth. Ike Taylor all over Anquan. Anquan looking for that opportunity to break away to the inside as he did there, taking advantage of Ike's inability to take away the inside. Nice job by Anquan Bolden on that juggle and catch there.
Second reception of the night. 3rd and short for the Ravens. Flacco with time and finds Dennis Pitta, the tight end, near the first down mark. He may get the spot that will move the chains for Baltimore.
The Ravens are doing a great job sorting out these threats from Pittsburgh. It looks like they're bringing 6 or 7, ends up becoming 3. Pitta realizes that it's not that rush. They're sitting back in zone. He breaks it off in space, headed to the sideline, gives Flacco the opportunity to make a nice long throw to the sure-handed tight end.
1st and 10 in Pittsburgh territory. The delay to Ricky Williams, not much. Kiesel is there, Foote is there, Casey Hampton is there. A lot of men to move.
From the top, you can see Pittsburgh, they're playing around a little bit there, moving guys in and out. But in truth, they are as stout as they have always been. On this play, for example, on the power, you think they got a chance, but 3 gold helmets, 3 yellow helmets showing up at one time, led by number 99 Kiesel, and they drop him there for a gain of 1.
Flacco in the gun, 2nd and long. 3-man rush for Pittsburgh, and a diving reception is made by Ed Dixon, who extends. Now, did he have control?
It's a beautiful catch. He's got his arm underneath the football. I think that they're going to rule in favor of the offense. A fantastic dive by Dixon here.
I don't know about this, John. That ball is moving, and I guess they're giving him control.
I think it's a good call. I think he's got the ball under control, and his arm hitting the ground makes it look as if it jostles, but that's a good catch.
Flacco under pressure, and Rice with a first down and more. What an asset it is to have a guy like Ray Rice coming out of the backfield. This is not a big explosion type offense.
When you play defense like Pittsburgh, occasionally you end up with the wrong guy on a player like Ray Rice. Brett Kiesel is so far out of position from the beginning, and he can't make it out to the flat. You can't quite blame him unless he missed his read on the snap. Ray Rice makes him pay.
Good call by Cam Cameron, the offensive coordinator of the Ravens. 9-6 the score, with Baltimore on top, and Ray Rice squirts free for about 4.
The good patience from Ray Rice, just taking the time to see this play develop. He realizes he can't quite press it to the corner, so he's going to turn his shoulders to the line of scrimmage and get what he can out of it. And there's the comparison between Flacco and Roethlisberger here in this game, with just one real big error on Ben Roethlisberger's part.
And that was Terrell Suggs with the interception that set up this drive. Flacco with time, throws the deep ball, too strong for Anquan Bolden. And immediately the wide receiver says, I was interfered with, and he may get his wish.
Well, Ike Taylor might have had a little too much he could handle. Mike Tomlin not happy, but realizing if you can make him try it again, you don't want to give Anquan Bolden and that Baltimore offense that sort of resonance in Heinz Field.
Here's Walt Coleman, the referee.
Pass interference, number 24. Defense. Ball being placed at the spot of the foul. First down.
See, defensive players will tell you it's more difficult now to play in the secondary than ever.
I won't disagree with him. This battle's been going on great. Ike Taylor has been doing a terrific job against Anquan. This time, just a little bit of that right arm push too much for the officials to take, and of course the fans at Heinz Field, none too happy about the call.
They're zeroing in on Taylor frequently. They've targeted Ike Taylor.
Well, that's what Pittsburgh wants to happen. He's their best defender on the corner. It gives them the opportunity to try and change things and confuse the offensive line from Baltimore. But to their credit, they haven't let that happen.
First and goal, Ravens. Ravens with a 9-6 lead, exchange of field goals. The fade way overthrown. Bolden, the intended receiver.
Well, Flacco's not doing too great in the red zone, but on this instance makes a great decision. He sees that his guy is not coming open quickly. He's going to dump it. He doesn't want to be put in a position where he makes a bad choice with guys running around in that secondary. That
not a complimentary stat there, John, for Joe Flacco.
No, he's not looking good in the red zone.
Second and goal, Ravens. It is Rice. Touchdown. Touchdown, Baltimore. Excellent blocking up front. And Ray Rice finds the end zone for the 6th time this year.
As Baltimore has been doing this entire game, picking up the various looks and defenses that Pittsburgh has thrown at him. Here's the blitz coming in. Your fullback, Vonta Leach, gets a hold of him. Ray Rice taking the time and seeing that this is going to pop on the backside with a terrific seal block by the left tackle, Bryant McKinney. Just opens up the avenue for him to make the touchdown.
A Billy Cundiff point after for a 10-point lead, and it's good. A marked contrast in games between the first meeting and this one, and Baltimore with a 10-point lead set up by the Terrell Suggs interception and the Rice touchdown.
And welcome back to the NFL Broadcast Bootcamp here at NFL Films. I'm James Brown alongside Michael Young, John Fina, and Adam Archuleta. Quarterbacks always being talked about as the marquee players in the league. Did you play with the marquee quarterback?
I played with the marquee quarterback. I played with Jake Plummer. Jake the Snake, Arizona State alumni. I mean, he was a team leader in the locker room. Although his play didn't really reflect it at times, I would still go to war for that guy, even if I was an offensive lineman.
I feel the same way. Jim Kelly, one of the all-time greats. I'd go to bat for him on the field. We always didn't see eye to eye, and he challenged the living heck out of us on the offensive line. But what a great player. What a great leader.
Now, I played with Kurt Warner, of course, the architect of one of the greatest shows on turf. And for anybody who doesn't think that the quarterback is the most important position, let's talk to the Cleveland Browns. Let's see how they feel. They haven't had a guy since Bernie Kosar.
Well, speaking of fans getting excited about quarterbacks, Peyton Manning now is in a Denver Bronco uniform. This is a team that made it to the playoffs last year. Folks are expecting, I'm sure, that they're going to get to the Super Bowl. Realistic expectations?
That is realistic expectations because they have a good defense and a running game to back those expectations up. They were clearly missing a quarterback last year, although they got the work done with Tim Tebow. However, you're giving a future Hall of Famer the keys to something he's never had before, and as I mentioned before, a running game and a solid defense.
He's got the keys, but is he ready to do it? Because right now, in terms of his rehab, he's still not 100%, though they're projecting by the start of the season he might be.
I've seen guys come back from these types of surgeries, these types of injuries. I think he's going to be fully healthy. I think they contend for the championship.
How can you say without a doubt he's going to be healthy? We're sitting here right now in June, and he even says, I'm not 100% yet. Peyton Manning, not at 100%. He's missed a year of football. He's had 4 neck surgeries, and if you go back to the last time that he played a full season, it wasn't the Peyton Manning, one of the worst statistical seasons of his career. So to automatically think that everything is going to happen and everybody's wildest dreams are going to come true, I think is a little premature.
Well, let's just say he isn't 100% healthy. He still has a better offensive line than he had when he was in Indianapolis. So Ryan Clayton being the left tackle to protect his blind side, and if he needs to hand the ball off a little bit more to Willis McGahee and run the football, then I think they'll still be okay.
But that's not an issue to me because Peyton Manning never was affected by his offensive line. One of the least sacked quarterbacks.
Say that.
One of the least sacked
quarterbacks
that I've ever seen
play. But he was on the run more often in those final couple of years there than he ever was before. That offensive line was getting old, and now I agree, Michael. He's got a better offensive line, a much better running game, and I think No, I don't know if his surgery is going to hold, but I'm a believer in Peyton Manning.
And also one thing, he has the altitude on his side to be able to run that no-huddle offense. Us being defensive guys, we don't like for the offense to come out and not get in the huddle because it kind of makes us discombobulate as far as what defense, what personnel is in the game for us to be able to match up personnel-wise. So I think he has the altitude on the side, too, as well.
Is the only metric to gauge success for the Broncos is them getting to the Super Bowl, yeah or no?
Super Bowl or bust for me.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think it's unrealistic to say that just because you add Peyton Manning, even though he is the best quarterback that I've ever seen play,
and in a relatively weak division,
I still think it's a lot to ask. I still think they have too many more pieces on that football team to say they are destined to go to the Super Bowl.
John?
They got to get to the championship game, AFC championship game, to be where they think it's going to be.
Come on, we know John Elway is not going to accept him just making it to the AFC Championship game. They signed him for a lot of money in the offseason, and to me, it's Super Bowl or bust. Now, whether they win it or not, that's one particular thing. But they have to be able to at least get to the Super Bowl in the weak division. If they can get past the Patriots, whoever comes out on the other side, then they should be in the Super Bowl game.
Denver's former quarterback is the talk of New York. But before we chat about him, let's talk about the incumbent, Mark Sanchez. Is this a good move for Mark Sanchez? Does he have the grit, the stick-to-itiveness to be able to handle Mr. Media himself, Tim Tebow, in New York?
No. Mark Sanchez doesn't have that fortitude. He doesn't have that spine. I think this is going to make matters a heck of a lot worse.
Then why would they even bring him in? The Jets, why would they bring in Tebow?
Last-ditch effort, James. This is their last-ditch effort to take a guy who they need to get to that next level that they can lean on. They haven't been able to do it themselves, so now they're going to tease him into it. They're going to push him into it, threaten him. It's not going to work.
I'm with John on this. Mark Sanchez, this is my philosophy on quarterbacks. You either have it or you don't. And no amount of motivational tactics is going to suddenly get Mark Sanchez to realize his potential. What Rex Ryan is doing is trying to improve his football team. He's bringing in a quarterback that can have a lot of success running that wildcat offense, a lot of success running some different formations to get that running game going, because that in itself is going to save Mark Sanchez this season. If they can get back to ground and pound, he will be much better off than throwing the ball 35, 40 times.
You guys know the role that ego plays as high-level elite athletes. I mean, is Sanchez's ego an issue here?
I don't think his ego may be an issue, but I will say this. I'm against these two guys over here, only because if Sanchez got to the AFC Championship game with a poor work ethic, what about bringing in Tim Tebow, who's going to actually make him work harder and maybe get them to the next step of getting to the playoffs?
But ego is the problem. He doesn't have enough of it to play the quarterback position, to be in a situation where the running game isn't working and he's got to go, it's all here. I got to make that throw, that 9 route. He doesn't have that. He's not going to take that on like Jim Kelly and Kurt Warner and some of the greats that we've played with.
Well, look at the results. He's got them to an AFC championship twice.
He has not got them to the AFC championship. That defense and that running game, just like Tim Tebow in Denver, the defense and the running game got them into the playoffs. But Mark Sanchez cannot win a football game with his arm. If everybody fails him, if their defense blows it and they don't have a running game, you don't have a chance. You cannot drop back 35, 40 times and expect to win consistently with Sanchez as your quarterback.
I hate agreeing with the Sun Devil, but he's right on this one, and there's no discussion after.
5 seconds then. Do the Jets get anywhere with Sanchez at the helm?
Yes, because he gives them the best chance to win the football games.
No.
Realistic expectations from you for the Jets are?
I think they can contend for maybe the second or the third spot in the AFC East, but they are nowhere near the New England Patriots right now.
No, they are third position behind New England and Buffalo. Miami's still in the basement.
They'll finish up 5-11.
Wow, this debate will continue throughout because you know New Yorkers, they love a good debate. We'll be back with more after this. And welcome back to Inside the NFL here on Showtime. I'm James Brown, pleased to be alongside of 3 of the best in NFL history. They will be starting left to right, Adam Archuleta, John Fina, and Michael Young. And make no mistake about it, the biggest offseason story that continues to dominate the headlines, the bounty scandal as initiated in New Orleans. Let me get your thoughts. You guys played in the league a long time. You know what's going on. Were you familiar with the bounty scandal being a part of NFL action?
Well, I actually played for Greg Williams back in 2006, so I was a defensive player who spent some time in his meeting rooms, and he does things a little bit differently, but I want to talk about it from a player's perspective, my perspective, which was I'm not listening to your words. I'm not listening to you tell me to go out and hurt somebody, because I'm worried about me making my own play. And I know that if I get the opportunity, I just want to make the tackle. And if I can light you up and if I can make you pay for coming into my zone, then that's the way it's going to be. But I never really attributed Greg Williams and what he wanted and made it to go out there and be a malicious football player.
But hold on, Adam, you may have filtered it out that way, but that's the issue, the fact that he did put a money amount on somebody's head, a bounty, and he did say go out there and take this guy out. That might be extra.
But what's the difference between what Greg Williams said and what's the difference between Bill Walsh when he told his defense in the '84 Super Bowl to go out there and make sure Dan Marino, I want him on the ground and dizzy? Now, is this a conversation about vocabulary?
The difference is clear. You're putting a dollar figure on it. You're putting multiple names out there across multiple games with a dollar figure. I played for Greg Williams, too. This is his personality. This does not surprise me about him. I'd never heard about this before in any other team in the league, but this is not a shock to me. I didn't care for the man. I didn't like the way he coached. I believe that his defenses were aggressive, but this, to me...
What didn't you like about the way he coached?
I didn't care for his personality. We had a big...
Which was?
He a little pompous and arrogant for me, frankly.
But this isn't a conversation about personality. This is about the results on the field. He's not going to win the title for Mr. Congeniality, and that's not the point here. The point is what happened on the football field. Our players are more injuries out there because our players are being taught to be aggressive and to be physical. And I don't see that end result on the football field.
The personality led to the bounties, Michael.
Okay, so my question is, if I'm an NFL veteran in the locker room, and we've all been around coaches who speak, the coaches speak, go out, drive a guy to the ground, make sure you make him pay. However, as a veteran, you have to be able to differentiate, okay, I'm not going out to hurt somebody, but I do, I want to go ahead and make sure Dan Marino is on the sideline because I don't want to have to deal with him for 3 quarters. I don't want to have to deal with him throwing a 300-yard game, making his personal best and records against us.
As a player, if in fact a coach, a position coach, head coach is saying something that is egregious to you, that disturbs you, do you have a feeling that you could say something that you disagree with that? What would you have done?
I would have personally pulled him to the side. After the meeting was over, I would have done it because...
And said what to him?
Because this is a fraternity. This is a brotherhood. We're not out here to hurt people maliciously and in their careers. However, you do want to make a point on, making sure that you do take out your opponent, but not in a bad way too.
Look, this is not public education. This is not our school system. This is the National Football League where grown men play, and you understand that there are things that you have to deal with. There's a physical part of the game, and I guarantee you, nobody is going to pull Greg Williams aside and say, look, Greg, I don't really like the way you're talking to the guys in the meeting room, and I think it's out of line. What you do is you listen to your coach, you take what you get from him, you go out on the field and play. Does that mean that you're going to go out there and hurt somebody? Not necessarily, but for you to set aside a coach and you say, coach.
If you need money, you might.
You're crossing the line.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, if you need money,
Good point. Now, there are some special teamers, and I don't mean to speak disparagingly or even imply anything pejoratively about them, but special teamers, if you guys kick in some money in that kitty, they're going to go out there and do a little extra to try to get that money.
Speaking from a guy with experience, I've earned an extra $1,000 for making a tackle inside the 20, but the hashtag wasn't to go out and break his leg at the same time. It was to go down there and make a play to get good starting field position for our defense.
So with that in mind, Roger Goodell's suspensions, stiffest in NFL history. Agree or disagree?
I disagree only because he's the judge, jury, and the executioner. He has the final say in everything.
That way.
But that's how they always say it, though.
But that's his job. He's protecting the brand of the NFL.
I understand he's protecting the brand, but sometimes you can bring other people in to get their opinion because you're not always right.
Why would you want the other people's opinion? Why would you want their opinion?
Well, because you may be looking at it one way, and they may be looking at it a totally different way. So instead of coming up for a year for Jonathan Vilma, maybe 6 to 8 games at the most.
I don't even know why it has to be 6 or 8 games because what did he do wrong? And I have to sit here as a guy who played
Adam,
defense.
He says, I got $10,000 on your head if they take Adam Archuleta out. You don't see a problem with that?
Kill them all. Let the paramedics sort them out. We learned that on the movie The Program. People talk macho and they say things in the locker room all the time. We've been saying that since Pop Warner. Do I really think that my little son who plays Pop Warner is going to go out there and break somebody's leg? But that's the way NFL football players talk.
Should there have
it doesn't have to be politically correct.
Should
that's
there
not
have
what
been,
it's all about.
Should there have been any suspensions at all?
How can you prove inside of the whistle a clean hit if somebody gets hurt. How can you prove that that was because of a bounty situation? How can you suspend a player for talking like a macho man in the locker room? I don't understand that.
I don't think you have to differentiate between play and what happened during the game. I think what we're talking about is you've got 4 guys that were singled out, not 12 or 14. Not everybody in that defensive meeting room. You've got 4 participants that it's been fairly obvious that they had a part of this.
But he didn't release the evidence.
Where's the proof?
That's what we're lacking.
Where's the proof?
My question is, do you need proof?
Do you need it?
In fact, I'm hearing bounties, however you want to term it, were a part of the game, and you go do it. So if, in fact, it's a part of the game, do you need proof to prove what is, in fact, a part of the game?
I think coaches and players should be held to different standard in this case. In this case, you had the coaching staff. They had a chance to put this under the rug in 2009, but they kept to keep it going. So I can't really defend you if you had a chance to squash this. But as a player, when everybody's rallying the troops and you're in the middle of a playoff game and you're jumping in and giving into the hype like it's the Lord of the Flies all over again, how should you be punished by what you say in the locker room? It shouldn't be about political correctness.
We're moving hard to a commercial, so let me get a yes or no answer then. With this in mind, the suspensions and the fines, do you think we'll ever see bounties be a part of the game again? Yes or no?
No.
No.
Absolutely not.
All right. With that in mind, we'll step aside. We'll be back with more as we continue from here at NFL Films in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. We'll do that after this.